Hi guys, so we're back for another podcast episode. We're basically talking to another successful trading student, one of these stock alert services. So we've done a couple of these now. Basically, a few months ago, I started this by interviewing a couple of people from the Discord group that I run. The first one was Josh. He was basically finding success with RagingBull and Trade Wars. So I did a whole video on that, and you should be able to find that on the channel somewhere. And then I interviewed Marion, who is also finding success with Stock Geeks, another Discord service. So I think this is the way that the channel's kind of going at the moment. I'm going away from reviews so much and kind of trying to interview people who have had real life experiences with these stock alert services, because I think that's something in the industry that's really lacking, is like actually talking and getting that human connection with people. Especially since trading is such a lone wolf kind of endeavor. So it's really helpful, and I've definitely enjoyed getting to meet a lot of people and learning from them and learning from the people that I've been interviewing for this channel. So today I've asked my friend Jesse to come on and talk about his experiences and how he got into trading and what services that he's found success with, which ones he hasn't, and basically kind of give us a bit of an open discussion about that, and a little bit about some of the other things that have been happening in the stock trading world this week, which includes things like the kind of unexpected lawsuit against RagingBull and some of our opinions basically on that. And then we also have a kind of a surprise reveal tonight of something that, Jesse and I have been working on for the last month or two. It's basically a new course that we are putting together, which we've found success trading the strategies in that. It's something that the industry's never seen before. It's completely original. And we're super excited to talk a little bit about that before we launch it, probably in the next week or two. So so let's get started. So just tell us a little bit about how you got started in trading, where did this all start for you, and where did you come across my websites or wherever you fell into my dark little world. So
Yes, absolutely. So I got started. So I'm a military officer and naval officer, and I was in California at the time. And with the whole pandemic happening and the shutdown that began in that month of March, I was in a training program, a 2-year graduate program, and just getting done with it, just finishing the last couple of weeks of the thesis work. And whenever we were taking one of the last classes, one of the professors jokingly said, "Hey, everybody, buy Zoom, because that's going to be like the next big thing, because of the whole pandemic, and we're not going to be able to see each other in person." And
right.
I've never heard, one of my family members actually has traded stocks for a long time, but I never really, understood much of it and never got quite, just in the weeds in it. But after the professor said that, I went home and I kind of said, you know what? Yeah, sure, I'll buy Zoom. And I didn't know anything about it, so I started looking how to do it. And of course, open a brokerage account and looked it up. I made the newbie mistake of buying the wrong ticker, like the ZOOM, which was like the apparently apparently many people did that and actually spiked that stock for the next week or so. But
don't worry about that. I've been trading for 10 years and I bought $250,000 worth of Apple by accident on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
If somebody who's been doing it for that long did that, then somebody who's just starting out buying a slightly different ticker is not going to be.
It's not that bad. It's not that horrible. No. Yeah. I feel better now. So it did work out okay. Then when I bought it at the very beginning, I started seeing that basically I could buy, any stock. I just started with just bought that a couple of shares here and there. I didn't have a lot of money. I just threw in a couple of grand that I had extra into the account. I didn't even know what margin was, of course, anything else. I was just a cash account. And I think within a month, and not even that, it was like 3 weeks. So I used to work in the dental field as well. I have a friend, a close friend that's a dentist, and he was talking about Smile Direct Club, SDC, right? And I bought that. So the bottom line is that I bought very few shares of different companies. And within a couple of weeks, I had double, or I think it was like triple the money. Yeah, it was like from 2,500, it was like 8 grand, and I've got 3 weeks. Unbeknownst to me at the time, obviously, we were just bouncing off a historical crash. So you could have bought anything and you would have made money. But of course, I did not know that. So I'm thinking, hey, this is really easy. This is like printing money. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not just add more money to it and continue to do it? And that didn't end well. We can discuss that more in, or later.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that's how I got into it, and I really started researching and online different courses, websites, the industry as a whole, and there is way too many companies and way too many services out there that could be overwhelming for anybody. And
Right.
again, that's a whole different side of this that we can explore. But that's how I just discovered it. It was just a combination of a little bit of free time, because I was supposed to move from that base to a different base in the East Coast,
Yeah.
and everything was halted. So I was just
Yeah.
basically like a lot of people locked down in the house. While the pandemic is happening, we cannot go anywhere. So I figured, you know what, let me just use this to my advantage and let me learn about trading.
Yeah, it seems to be a story I heard a lot at the start of the year, and pretty much the other two guys that have, well, Marion and Josh, basically had a similar story that their time was freed up unexpectedly, and then they were able to follow stock trading as something they'd been wanting to do for a while, but like they never had the time, and this presented a good way to try and make some extra money, and something they were kind of wanting to do for a long time. So not too different a story there. So I think that's kind of interesting as well, because it was really like a tough market at that point as well. So I wonder how many other people bought those that bounce basically as well, and thought maybe trading was easy, and then
Oh my
got hammered
gosh.
all summer.
Oh
So,
yes, yes. How wrong was I?
yeah. So then, so I guess like somewhere along the line, you came across either my YouTube channel or the blogs, because you joined the Facebook group, and then I remember you joining and reaching out and being like, you know, are you full of crap here, Russell, or are you like, what's going on?
Oh my gosh. So yes, I think I started getting bombarded. I mean, once I opened the brokerage and probably did a couple of Google searches, those, and then, the Cambridge Analytica kind of deal where they,
uh,
like, they figure out anything and everything you look up, and now all of a sudden I'm getting bombarded with these ads from numerous services and also called gurus. And one of them, I guess, kept popping up, and I think it was Fast Five, maybe from Kyle Dennis and RagingBull.
right, right.
And once I started looking at it, they come up with that webinar, available only now, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, your whole life is gonna, be ruined if you
The
don't click here.
the stuff that they're getting into trouble for right now, basically.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. A little bit of outlandish,
yeah,
kind of ads and marketing. But so I clicked on it. But again, obviously, I'm extremely skeptic. I'm like, okay, come on. Like, if this was such a big secret, why are you selling it so inexpensively? And when I Googled, or I tried to search for reviews of that program, and one of those, it was probably 2 in the morning, and I, you get into those kind of a page to another page to another page, and I landed in one of your stock reviews, stockalertreviews.com page, I believe it was.
yeah.
And I started reading very not overly positive, but realistic reviews and of people that were profiting, and a couple of testimonials here and there. And I figured I'd give it a try. I think I reached out to you maybe within those weeks. I still hadn't bought any programs per se, but I wanted to have some real life a discussion with a member or someone that at least
Right, right,
is talking about this publicly. So that's how
right.
I think you and I met. Mhm.
Yeah. It's interesting because, like, I get accused all the time of writing overly positive articles about these things. And so, like, it's interesting to hear somebody say the opposite, that they thought it was, balanced. And hey, I get that too. Like, people do read my articles and say, hey, like, you're showing charts, you're showing your entry and exits, you're showing all this. You're clearly like doing this. I mean, if you're not doing it, you should be doing it the way you're talking about it, So,
Exactly.
so it's interesting because, people, a lot of these crazy haters that I get commenting on these videos and stuff are all like, "Oh, you're just writing these articles because you're an employee of Raging Bull, and like you don't really trade stuff and all this." So it's good to hear that you found an article. And Fast Five is actually one of the ones that I spent the most time on. So I was updating it every week for a long time, adding more and more trades, kind of showing people how I was making money from it. And
It was
yeah,
it was very tempting and very
yeah,
interesting because you had a law. I mean, you had at that time, I believe it was 6+ months worth of logging
right,
your trades. So
right,
I thought to myself, this gentleman is either really elaborated in his scam, or like
right,
very
right,
detailed,
yeah.
or he's a true you know, honest person that's just sharing what has worked for him. And I think when I reached out to you, and I think the very first day that I tried I think I bought a trial or maybe the actual service for like a year. I don't even remember right now, but I think the very first day I didn't do so well in it, and I thought, oh my gosh, this guy, probably is the third party or something,
Yeah.
getting kickback or something. And I was like, you know what? But I still kind of wanted to give it a chance. However, the one thing that I was doing, and I thought I was a genius, it was again, this is still in the huge rebound. I was trading. So I think it was the monthly fools that it was very. I think it was like $50 for the whole year or $97 for the whole year. And I bought it, right, and they came out with this list of stocks to buy now, and of course they're like legitimate companies, large caps that are definitely poised for success in 3 to 5 years. So what I was doing, however, I think it was even with Fastly and a couple of Shopify. I mean, I bought a couple of those, and they were skyrocketing, right? So I kept basically recycling it, swinging them for a couple of days and rebuying them, and then I started thinking, you know what, this is so easy. Again, I made my account margin.
Mm-hmm.
And then I started basically playing the opening, which it was a horrible idea, but at the time it was just immensely profitable. Again, with a tiny account, I'm talking less than 10K, and a margin account now. Unbeknownst to me, what margin meant was I was actually going in with like 100K of or whatever that I didn't have, like or 60,000. I know, and I was buying like 500 or 600 of the Trade Desk, Fastly,
Yeah.
Shopify, which are large cap, and of course they're gonna give you like 4 times or 6 times your balance, so you can go in. And I was playing the open, and I was thinking just buy at the open. They typically spike in the morning, and I mean, I was making again like 5,000 in like 2 minutes, and I was like, this is insane. Why doesn't anyone or everyone do this? And
Yeah.
obviously, summer came, and then it was the opposite direction that was going. So I gave back all the profits that I had made and then some. So it was very frustrating, but that's when I started getting very serious about, you know what, let me learn this really, really well. There has to be a way to be able to beat the market.
Right.
And yes, we can, definitely delve into that and
Cool.
know that the market is still unbeatable, you know?
Well, so I guess that leads me to the next question, which is basically like you've tried a whole bunch of these alert services, and let's talk a little bit about the ones that you really, really don't like and the ones that you really, really do like, and which ones have made you the most money. Let's have a delve into that.
Exactly. So I
Yeah.
think for the value and of course educational suite, I mean, RagingBull is immensely valuable in the sense that they have several different educational programs. They have several so-called gurus or educators or traders that have large vaults of educational videos, etc. They're they all come together. However, to actually like profit from it depends. You have to find what works for you, what kind of person you are, what kind of style. If you're an anxious person, you want to hold overnight, etc. So they have different strategies. So the number one, I think, again, for the price and for the amount of studying and for the basic professional, it'll have to be probably like Fast Five.
That's 5. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, and it's very predictable. It's a specific time in the week that they kind of, publish their trade idea for that week. And it's very easy to try to follow and replicate if you're a beginner. They very adamantly recommend not just blindly following, but at that time, again, that was all I was trying to do. So Fast Five is definitely up there,
Okay.
and then the Motley Fools, of course, because they have
Yeah.
been in the industry for over 20 years, and
Right.
they do Zoom calls where you can dial in and they do like a
Oh, do
little
they?
brief.
Oh, right.
Oh yes, they
Right.
do. They
No.
do, and it's included in those very inexpensive services. They do Zoom calls. They do weekly like emails, and I think even bi-weekly, like where they send you briefs or summaries of why a company is still a very good buy, etc. So those two are definitely up there. And then
Cool.
you have Weekend Wiretaps from Jeff Williams and Stock
Right.
Market Pro from Jeff Williams. And Jason Bond and Kyle Dennis have other services, basically, which are their premium services. And they are okay, but they seem to
Yeah.
me, no, because they have the great education, but they're a bit
That's
difficult
true.
to to try to get the big picture and the reasoning why they're doing what or buying what. But yeah.
Right. And that's exactly the same as how I feel. Like Jason Bond, I've always been quite a big, fan of Jason's trading until this year, and he's really struggled. And there's people that have lost money trading his strategy, or at least trying to copy him at least, and it's been kind of disappointing. So, he's definitely not somebody right now that I recommend trying to, piggyback on, or, with the one exception of Monday Movers, which I don't think you do really, right? Are you in Monday Movers or?
So I am. I had purchased their like lifetime. So I went a little bit crazy when I was quote unquote printing money at the beginning, right? And I bought all these services like lifetime.
Right.
So I do have it. However, it goes back to so I noticed he tends to repeat a lot of the companies that he traded before. So he plays them over and over and over, which would maybe lead you to believe that he knows the company. But as we know, the stock market does whatever it wants. He cares for no one, and it can really turn on you in an instant. So I just didn't see a lot of appeal. It was a lot of stocks with very little volume. At the time, I didn't know why that was important, but now I know, obviously. And low flow. I mean, it was just a couple of things that I just didn't feel comfortable with trading it so much. And the very first time I traded, I think it was Neti, and that thing for that Friday, it went over 100%. So I thought, oh my gosh, these services are all like, again, just printing money. But that was one and like few and far in between now that actually go over 20, 30, 40, 50%. I mean, that was just like a one-time thing. It just had, kind of happened. It was great, but again, a little misleading because then you go in huge the next time thinking you're going to do the same thing and lose it all.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
it's that consistency.
Exactly.
It's that consistency. So that leads to so many different issues with these stock alert services. If somebody joins, they will, maybe make 3 losers in a row and then go online and start shouting this is a scam, or they might make 10, they might make 5 winners in a row and be over the moon. But then 6 months later, they're negative, or vice versa, And I think, sorry, on you go.
Many of the services actually did chat rooms. Like I tried a couple of those X Trades and a couple of others, and I really didn't see much appeal there. A lot of just chatter, which is ironic, right? A chat room, but a lot of just nonsense chatter. A lot of just random questions being asked, and it's just not really being addressed. It was just too crowded, cumbersome, and just a lot of noise. So I definitely did not enjoy those particular services. I only tried that one, and I think maybe I forgot the other one, that Dan Trader guy that was slapping 30K in his hands. I just look at his video, but
that's terrible. Yeah, that was,
my family thought I was dealing drugs. And
right.
I mean, yes, that guy.
He also bashes technical analysis and says it's not a real thing and stuff. He kind of loses credibility when he, says
he
in
does
his ads,
because exactly, he doesn't elaborate. He doesn't say that they are, while they are lagging. I mean, they do become a self-fulfilling prophecy if many people are using them, and many of them actually work depending on your strategy. If you're intraday trading, of course you're not going to be looking, I don't know, at some of the indicators that are used for swing trading in particular that work best for that, right? But it doesn't mean they don't work. So definitely, I mean, it's again back with the marketing, the outlandish, just kind of wild claims, so.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that plagues both the stock trading sort of part of things, but also the financial education niche in general. Like if you go on YouTube and you look up CoffeeZilla or somebody like that, he's bashing RagingBull, but he's also bashing Ty Lopez and all these other people that are selling courses for just other ways to make money. And I guess I've always kind of been on the other side of things, where I've always found that educating yourself on different financial things pays off. Even if people say it's a scam, often there's golden nuggets in there that have really helped change people's lives, and I've seen everything from some of the best classic, books on teaching you good mindset and everything being called complete scams, where they've been responsible for more millionaires being generated over the last decade than than any university or anything like that could possibly have been.
And that we have to treat it with a grain of salt too. I mean, exactly. One thing I failed to mention that was the last push that I had to get in order to get into this whole trading thing, which is funny right now because it just maybe gave me too much confidence. It was finishing that book. What's this Japanese gentleman that?
Kiyosaki or whatever, the guy. Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a good book, man. I got a lot of benefit from that.
Yeah, it is a great book, but I did the Audible, and I was doing like working out really late at night
Yeah,
and listening to it, and maybe it gave me that extra confidence, because you used to talk about the difference between the person that made it and the person that didn't. Was the leap of
yeah,
faith or the confidence or the lack of assurance? So I said, you know what, what ifs? I've never taken this huge risk, and
yeah.
maybe I went a little bit too crazy with it. But that was
Right.
the funny thing. But you do go out there and you research and you learn the education that you obtain. My mom used to always say,
Right.
no one can take that from you, right? So you learn all those things, and I
Yeah.
have really gone deep on that learning aspect, and I've learned from many people, which
Hmm.
they also call scammers, like Tim Sykes, which
Yeah.
in my opinion, I mean, he has a strategy that works. I mean, you see front running people, you see whatever, all those things can be debated, but until they're proven, I mean, they really have nothing, right, to hold that
Exactly. Exactly.
ground. The fact of the matter is that he gives some wise and some sage advice. Cutting losses quickly, the market
Right.
can turn against you at any point in time, which is true. He's very down to earth, very brute, and kind of like grunt with his
Exactly. Yeah.
with his advice. He tells you, it can go against you, it can turn on you. Don't hold in hope, cut it quickly, the losses.
Right.
So, and people, oh, he's a scammer. I mean, why? He's telling you all these things, you're not listening. So it's not his fault.
So
It's not
no,
Raging Bull's
no.
fault. I mean, when people finish,
Right.
follow blindly. So yeah.
And that's been kind of like, so I think I was mentioned to you earlier that, the people that I'm talking to at the moment, the intelligent people, and you can tell they're intelligent just from their analytical approach to trading and the way they, they, they write stuff out or they talk to you. These guys, it's like an open-mindedness, right? And you're one of them. So like I can tell from from doing this course together and stuff that you're super analytical, you're super smart, and you're not out there calling everybody scams, because you can see that there's value in, you're open-minded and you can see that there's value in a lot of these services. So it kind of brings me to the big news this week of this Raging Bull lawsuit. And I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about it just because nobody really knows all the facts yet. It's so new, and we can speculate. And there's people that didn't file this suit, but there's people who basically pushed to send in testimonials from disgruntled customers to the FTC and things. And you can kind of look at that and say, well, is it fair that this company's been investigated for 200 or so testimonials and people that maybe lost money because they, for whatever reason, maybe they weren't trading properly, maybe they were idiots, we just don't know.
Exactly.
Like, so like, for example, like, we it just doesn't make any sense to me, because I know some of the people that are, that were pushing this and things, and they've accused me of being a scam artist as well. And because I know that's not true, then how, luckily it's not damaged me in any way, because I don't run a $500 million
Well,
company or
it
anything.
depends.
So,
It depends how you define damage. Because I have to be honest, and I think I mentioned in the past to you as well offline, that if I had read some of those negative reviews, I would have probably leaned more towards the not contacting you, because a lot of
yeah,
those, no, because I mean, a lot of those negative reviews really, make you kind of wonder. And then these people seem to have a high conviction that that everybody's a fraud out there in this market. I mean, one thing is for sure, it's not easy. Trading is not easy. Day trading
yeah,
is even harder than that. But it's not necessarily a scam. It has
right,
it's a probabilities game, right? If you can have the odds in your favor, then you
right,
can cut your losses, you can definitely profit. And if you develop a strategy like the ones that we're kind of working on in our course, you have a much higher chance of going out and coming out with profits and consistent
right,
earnings in the long run.
right.
But it took a long time. I took that as you said, analytical approach to it. I unfortunately was using real money, as I was actually like a mad scientist testing one strategy after the
It's a
other.
good
So,
description of you, mad scientist, is what I
uh,
always thought you were
uh,
like. So yeah,
hmm.
it's
Yeah,
good.
I mean, I did a lot of back testing, of course, but that was after I had already sunk quite a
Yeah,
large amount of cash into trying X and Y Z strategy, because I tried the whole paper trading for a little while.
yeah,
But not only is the data, delayed in that, so it's not like real trading, because you're not getting the real, I don't know, the real feelings. You're not trading with real emotion, which is part of the real experience, right? That's one the hardest thing about trading is you against you, right?
right,
There's no one out there but you. So money that you make is money that someone lost, and vice versa. So I was throwing money at all these different strategies, and again, it wasn't like it was chump change. It was some serious money that I was trying to test with, which it was not the brightest move. Okay, I get it now, but it did lead me to a very sort of refined strategy that definitely allows now to just recover from all of those losses if you trade them exactly as they're meant to be traded. And you have to have patience, and you have to have consistency. And you cannot, again, not one single trade is going to make you rich, and not one single trade is supposed to break you, because you need to
Yeah.
be logical and analytical, and that's not always easy
Right.
for
And
people. Yeah.
and that's perfect, and that's why I've partnered with you on this new course that we're producing, right? Because we're kind of complement each other. I'm not a particularly precise, analytical person, which is weird given that I was a research scientist in physics before I started all this trading stuff. I'm just not. That's the thing. But I think the thing that we've come up with together is that's where the beauty in it actually is this idea that you've tested all these strategies over and over and over, and you figured out everything, and then I've kind of come in with what's worked for me with these stock alert services, and we've kind of mashed it all together, refined it, and we're putting it all down on paper in the form of a course to help other people that are maybe struggling with stock alert services or even just trading in general. And I think this is something that really hasn't been done before. We're not just teaching, bull flag breakouts or anything like that. And I think that it's something that people are going to find such huge value from. And I think it's something that, the industry really needs to get there, because it's not just applicable to like one stock alert service. It's going to be able to be applied to so many different ones that people who are maybe, busy at work or so sign up for some stock alert service and then don't want to spend a lot of time in front of their computer all day, can utilize this new strategy. And I'm hesitant to say it's a new strategy because it's not. It's basically refining an existing strategy that people have done, for a few years, and basically laying it out on paper for people to basically learn and then copy the strategy. So is that a fair assessment of kind of what we're trying to do with this new project, this new course?
I think it's a very fair assessment, and I think is one of the most important things is to not only when buying these other services, but also when buying the course. If for those that do, is to have realistic expectations. So, right, there is simply no get rich quick scheme formula, whatever you want to call it, that works. There is just doesn't exist. However, with these refined strategies, and again, which a lot of countless hours and great amounts of money were invested into developing and refining, uh, with patience and consistency and just a logical, comprehensive approach to it, you can, in the long run, absolutely profit from it. And that is what I thought it was the silver lining in the, because I was just so I got to a point that I was just completely cynical. It's like, okay, there's nothing that works. This is a bunch of BS. And you have many people that, again, no, it's
Yeah.
true, because it was like, you know what, nothing works. I mean, because you can be super profitable one day and lose it all the next day. But it's just, there are techniques and things that work. And that's what we cover in the course. And it's not
Right.
unique to us, of course. Many other successful people replicate that and do it as well. But we have it in an organized, easy to follow
Yeah.
format, in a very comprehensive approach, very detailed too. It's almost like a blueprint. It's like a specific settings with specific brokers that are going to provide a little bit of an edge to you. And if you use it consistently, again, you don't have to be the best trader out there. You just have to be better than the next one, the
Yeah.
one next to you, right? So if doing those things can make you profitable in the long run, consistent, and give you an edge, as little as it might be, an edge in a place where there are billions and trillions of dollars traded, you can definitely make a decent living off this,
Yeah.
which many people have actually done.
Right, right. And you do realize, though, as soon as we launch this, we're going to get inundated with people calling you and I scam artists, right? I just hope you're ready for
Oh my
that.
gosh! So
Because, yeah, because the
I've never dealt
claims
with
that we're
them.
making that are true, there's no way people are going to believe it. Like, there's just no way. Like, when we tell them, like, look, this is what you do, X, Y, Z, make 1 to 5% a day. That is immediate red flag for all
Well,
these people
you know
will
what's
scream, yeah.
they might, and I mean, again, we have several disclaimers. I think in several of the videos that I recorded, I try to remind people of that. Hey, we're not a financial advisor, we're not licensed investors. I mean, we're just trying to share what has worked for us, and you can try for yourself, and you can try with paper money or very small amounts of cash that you're able to lose and not be able to pay your rent. Still be able to pay your rent. But the fact of the matter is that with yeah, we can make 2 to 5%. But I mean, yesterday, and the good thing is we are going to provide live, recording of the trades and videos. And unlike some of these trading services, like for example, I have not taken the course, but I have heard from many subscribers that warrior trading is extremely difficult to replicate. But you have this gentleman Ross making millions of dollars. I mean, but it's nice to replicate. With our strategy, it's very simple and it's very practical, easy to replicate, and you can make 2 to 5%, but you also can make, like yesterday, 26 per, 25 point something percent on a particular easy trade right from the phone, which is not ideal, it's not practical, it's not the best way to do it, but obviously works, right? When you don't have your computer with you and maybe you see something that's moving, or maybe you see something, one of these trade ideas that is a great opportunity, you just jump on it, and we teach how to do it from from different areas, from your phone, from the computer, depending
Exactly.
on which service, depending on which trade idea, depending on which market, the OTC versus the listed stock. I mean, we have tailored them to specific, to just down to the teeth, and refine them in a way that they will work, as long as you don't get greedy. And we
Exactly.
cover that too, so that will work for you. Yeah.
Small, consistent gains with that slight edge that we've kind of developed. And I think I taught a few people in the Facebook group this strategy, at least part of it, in a very unrefined form, from probably this whole year, and introduced a few people to it. And basically, like, there were some new traders that were starting it, and I wouldn't recommend it completely for a brand new trader, just because you
It
definitely
can go
need.
south. Yeah.
Right, and you need to have that confidence, and you need to have like some of the basic skills. We're not going to teach people how to set up a broker or how to buy a market order or a limit order. So it's not aimed at the complete beginner, although beginners could work through this and make money. And I know people that have. In fact, one guy in the Facebook group is making a full-time living just doing this, a very watered down version of this strategy. And
Hmm.
I think that's basically been so exciting for me, and then to see you refine the strategy and add to it, and build up this what really is an edge. And I hate to say this, and I hate to I'm not looking forward to marketing this course at all, just because I've the amount of people that are going to come out of the woodwork and say this is a scam until we try it. Then then they might not think it's so much of a scam, but it'll be interesting to
Exactly.
see. It'll definitely be interesting to see. But I'm
Yeah, I
excited
am.
to.
I am excited as well. A little bit concerned with that as well, because I don't want to
Yeah.
be misleading. I try to be as transparent, as honest as possible. And I think
Right.
if they use this recording for anything, is to listen clearly when I say that obviously anything can go south, anything can go wrong. But if you have a decent amount of knowledge on how to manage your risk, and if it's going south, to cut your losses quickly, I think again, Tim Sykes, that's his number one rule, and many other people. That's just logical. However, it is difficult when you're in a trade, you're being an emotional trader. To cut the losses might be harder, to do than actually just say it. However, our strategies are very tailored to specific amount of, again, percentage gains, specific settings, specific moves. And if it's not going that way, I would say, again, first of all, again, I'm not going to say guarantee you anything, but we will continue to upload real-time screen recordings of our trades doing these strategies and how they work, and we will provide the proof and the time and the
Exactly.
everything. I'm not going to go crazy providing brokerage statements, because
Yeah.
I
No.
mean, that
No.
they can see it. They can see that it's not the on-demand feature. They can see that when we use Thinkorswim, whether it be Webull or Speech, Life,
Right.
whatever it might be, they can see that it's not the paper money, it's real money, and they can see the real P&L because it's right there showing
Right.
in the screen.
Right.
But I mean, they just have to understand also we are private citizens and we like to keep it
Right.
that way. But we're sharing as much as we can without going
Right,
too crazy. But
right.
yeah.
And I think one of the things that I'm definitely going to do with this course, and it's something that you really don't get anywhere else, is, I mean, this is going above and beyond, and it may not be scalable as we sell more and more of these things, as more and more people learn from it. But it's like, I really want, so we're including a Facebook group in, as a private Facebook group to join, where we can all discuss all these different strategies and every week, like, what people are doing. But I think instead of offering an ironclad money back guarantee, I think because of the digital format, and that we're giving away all these basically secret, the secret sauce, that people could just buy the thing and then immediately try and get refund. I think what I'm going to do is offer, at least I'm okay doing this. Maybe you're not, but is offer an hour sort of like screen sharing session with people if they are not having success with the strategy, where we can guide them through a trade, or they can watch it watch one of the trades that, that we're recommending in terms of, in real time, so they can actually see that this is a thing that's possible, and we're not making this nonsense up. Now, whether that's going to be sustainable as things go on, probably not. But it's something that I'm hoping that we can do, because nobody does that, right? You can't buy can't buy a Tim Sykes course and then he like walks you through a trade. It's very general information, like what's a bull flag, what's a breakout, whereas that's not what we're aiming for. We're aiming for like a guide, a blueprint. Do this, this, and this. If it doesn't work for you, let us show you why it's not working, how we can help you. And, it's going to be a lot more involved, and certainly something that seems to be, to me.
Wow. No, that's actually a good idea. Definitely depending on how big it grows to be, right?
Right.
To sustain it only enough hours in the day, but we can actually also record that session and upload it as well. And maybe
Right.
someone else has the same questions. And for those that it's not working for them, they can refer to those videos. But you just reminded me of long time ago when I was studying for the SAT. I hired this private tutor. I think it was called the College Wizard or Harvey something. Anyway, and of course many people call him a scam because the course was like 4K or something like that. I mean,
oh no,
but I hired him. I mean, and he was obviously legitimate. He did end up refunding me because I ended up, I think it was not taking the course at that time because I had to end up moving and whatnot, the military life. But the point is that he had some tips and tricks to always get the perfect essay, right? And when I think about what you just said, it reminds me of that, because if it's not working for you, let's do a one-on-one, and I'm going to show you why it's not. And it'll be the same thing as with that. He will tell me, do this, this, and that, and you will get the perfect score, period. So with us, it'll be do this, this, and that. Obviously, you have to couple this with very rudimental basic knowledge, as you just said, like the basic support and resistance, the basic, previous close of the day before, or the basic, just the movements. So how does that stock trade? I mean, the float volume, does it have a large float, short percentage for the company of their shares floating? So we have to perhaps even cover that, but that'll definitely be a separate thing, because that's just will take you ages, right? But the amount of learning that they can do also is tons of content all over the web, but we can help them have it more organized.
Exactly.
And in that one-on-one, we'll walk them step by step. Hey, do this, push this button, press here, and profit. And I don't want to sound like a snail. What is it? A snake oil salesman, right?
You sure you're not a scammer there, Jesse? It sounds kind of too good to be
know.
true. Get rich quick.
I know. Right. You follow me and get rich tomorrow.
Right.
We have to rent Lamborghinis and put them in the background.
Right, yeah.
No. But it's one of those things that is very realistic. But why it is realistic is because, remember, we're essentially small fish in a huge pond. So, or ocean, if you want to call it. So our strategies are very practical, are very low percentage, 2 to 5, it's not a whole lot. Although, again, depending on how much you're scaling in, and we're going to teach you which trade ideas can be scalable and which cannot be, especially in the over-the-counter market, and how different, stocks move in different ways, because you have to know all those basic things to be able to get out of the trade if it's going south. However,
exactly.
the likelihood, the odds of trades going south or going bad with our strategies are very dim. Like, I don't have this particular statistics right now, but we will definitely show the proof again with recorded videos and with just live sessions, where we can show them that it's very difficult to lose with these strategies if you follow them to the teeth. Now, for that one time that you do maybe potentially lose, then cut it and get out of it, and don't be greedy and wait for the next opportunity, period. That's it. And preserve the capital, protect it. Yeah,
exactly. And it's worth pointing out at this point that we've both made substantial amounts of money from this strategy, and we're not going to start showing hundreds of thousands of dollars or Lamborghinis that we've bought with or anything like that. But it's money that you can live on, and it's obviously account size dependent. But if if you have more, and I think I started testing the strategy with about $10,000 and built up over the course of this last year to about anywhere between $100,000 and $200,000 in each position. And of course that scales up. So, 1% to 3 or 4% on each trade. Now you will have the occasional loser. So, some of those wins will be offset, but overall it's been so profitable, and it's really the only strategy I'm interested in trading now.
It is absolutely fascinating how you can scale it for some particular services, and we will go into detail on those in the course. You can absolutely scale it. You can go in with, of money. I remember this one trade, I think it was back in maybe August or September, and I think I discussed it with you in the past. One of our group members came out with like 36,000 realized gains when traded this because of the amount of money he used, of course. But it wasn't like $1 million or $500 million or
Right.
$500,000. It was much less than that. But still, coming out with that amount is insane. I mean, and we just have this again, this advice and these strategies that have worked for us for this, for this long and are very profitable, very, very, very replicable. And I mean, that amount of money is a year's, someone's year's, yearly salary. Most of us, yeah, I guess yearly salary. So you definitely can relate and think of how life changing this could be. So this could be life changing amounts of money that you can make. Again, not overnight, obviously, but with consistency and a basic understanding, and just being very judicious with your time and preserving your capital, preserving it, not just focusing on making bank. And then tomorrow you lost a little bit and you want to make it back in revenge trade. That was mistake number one. I was definitely guilty of it.
Exactly.
And it's just again preservation of whatever you're making, and in the long run it will add up, and at one point it'll be, again, like you said, 1% could be $1,000, what could be it could be $2,000, so
Well, yeah. So to illustrate that point, can you see my screen at the moment? It should be on Jeff Williams' Small Account Challenge. Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So let me scroll down and show you kind of like, so this hasn't really got much to do with the course that we're doing, but I just wanted to kind of show, like, Jeff Williams on RagingBull does this Small Account Challenge where he starts with $1,000 and every day he does a trade, and he tries to turn that $1,000 into as much as possible. So at the moment, he started this about a month ago, and he's already, and this is absolutely ridiculous, but I've watched him do it, he's already turned that $1,000 starting amount into 10,000. So I've been trying to replicate it, but using a little twist to his strategy, not being quite as aggressive as he is. And if you look down here, you can see I've put each trade, using a small amount of capital. And as I go through, within 15 trades, basically I've grown that $1,000 into 1,500, which is it's a 54% gain in just 15 trade days. So I haven't taken all of them, so it's actually been 3 or 4 weeks. But out of the 15 trades that I've done, grown that account 54%. But look at this, like none of these are home runs. 1.5%, 3%, 6%, 2.5%. These are small gains that that I'm capitalizing on, but are compounding quite quickly. And it's a good illustration of what like our strategy kind of focuses on, is this kind of not swinging for the fences, not risking too much, just trying to compound those small gains over and over and over. So I think this is like a good example. And I've actually started going in a lot bigger on these trades now. I basically trade them every day. And instead of using 1,000, I'm actually using 15,000 to do it, because I kind of, got a few days in and I was like, this is nonsense. Why am I doing $1,000? This is just for the blog post. I thought I'd do this, to show people what happens if you try and follow Jeff Williams' challenge. I'm like, I'm leaving so much money on the table. I'm just going to multiply my position size by 10 or 15. So, so that's what I've been doing. And I haven't lost a single one of these trades out of 15, and their small percent gains are really adding up. So I think that kind of illustrates the thought, behind this new strategy that we're developing too. But I think we're going to have to wrap it up there. We've been talking for over, I think, 45, 50 minutes now. And I think there's a good chance that there's very few people left listening at the very end here, and whether I'll even upload to YouTube, I'm not too sure. But I think at this point, it's like, thanks a lot for telling me about your story, and that you've had some success with these stock alert services. In particular, it sounds like Fast Five and the Motley Fool, and that that not everything is a scam, and that we've managed to put together some of your experiences and my experiences to do this new course. So if anybody is listening to this, once the course is complete, I'll be including a link once we've actually launched in the description below this video. So you'll be able to click on that and just go and read more about it, and different testimonials and all this kind of stuff. And I encourage people to reach out to me or to Jesse on our Facebook group, or via email, and try and ask questions and see if suss this out for yourself, see if you think we're crazy scammers or not. So yeah, so do you have anything left to add, or should we leave it there? Any final words?
No, just to people to maybe, like I said, try out some strategies, try out the course. Again, I mean, it'll be something that, again, it'll be worth your time at the least. And we could definitely do maybe like a couple of people that can actually attempt the course for perhaps a reduced price or whatnot, so they can see that it's legitimate and get those testimonials going and get them to be satisfied with the services and go ahead. So maybe for, I don't know, the first 5 people will get whatever, just
Yeah.
just so they can actually get in and see that it's something so simple. But if you think about it, all the courses that I have done, they're very simple strategies, but guess what, I did not know them before I took the courses, or they were very disorganized on the web, or
Right.
just the details were not covered. But with our course and with the one-on-ones, as people are not able to replicate for some reason, I think we can cover those questions and have a reasonable, again, discussion as to why it's not happening.
Yeah.
And again, with with realistic expectations, it should be fine. It should be a very happy group of people that are now profiting when they weren't before, and now making that extra income. So yeah,
That sounds great. Well, it's awesome for talking to you, and we should definitely do this again sometime. And I think people are going to find a lot of value from this new course and from this interview. Hopefully, they can hear it from a real subscriber. So, thanks again, man, and everybody for let's listen to the end here. Thanks for listening, and hopefully you guys gain some insight from this interview. So yeah, so enjoy the rest of the evening, and I'll talk to you soon.
absolutely. You too.
All right, cheers.